Welcome back to the channel. We're back with our Avatar: The Last Airbender Commander deck profile today with Aang, Airbending Master. For 5 mana, we get a 4/4, where whenever Aang enters, airbend another target creature. Exiled, its owners may cast it for 2 rather than its normal mana cost, allowing us to potentially blink one of our creatures or blink one of our opponent's creatures, getting some +1/+1 counters or other type of counters off of them, or just have them go away temporarily. And whenever one or more creatures you control leave the battlefield without dying, you get an experience counter, which those don't go away when Aang leaves the battlefield. So, even if Aang leaves the battlefield and comes back, we still get that secondary ability with the same amount of experience counters. And at the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 white ally creature token for each experience counter you have. So, we're going to get plenty of tokens with this deck because we have plenty of ways to blink our creatures to make sure they leave the battlefield without dying. And plenty of ways to benefit off of getting a lot of tokens on the battlefield, and a lot of ways to protect them to make sure Aang could actually last until our upkeep, because they could always remove him during our untap step. But that's just a general overview of the deck. Let's get into the deck profile here for Aang. We have Arcane Signet. For that little bit of mana we're going to need, he is 5 mana, so we want to make sure we get him out pretty early. Archaeomancer's Map, allowing us to do just that as well, allowing us to play lands anytime our opponents played lands, at least for the first round, while we had them in our hand. Search the library for up to 2 basic planes. You could also potentially blink this later into the game, because it is an artifact, so like something like Teleportation Circle can blink it, getting more and more planes, or if you have something that doubles the number of, gets you an extra enters ability, you get those 4 planes rather than just the 2. Conjurer's Closet, another way to blink our first way to blink our creatures in order to make sure that we could have them leave the battlefield without getting removed. Lightning Grease, to make sure our creatures can attack the turn they come down, along with a little bit of protection there for Aang, making sure he doesn't get targeted by your opponent's generous gifts, their Pongofies, their Chaos Warps, their, trying to think of what the other ones are, a lot of good ones, Beast Within, and Infernal Grasp. I couldn't think of a single one for black for a second. I was trying to think of a removable spell for each color. Marble Diamond for some more mana while we're here. Panharmonicon, another way to get the second enters ability off of our creatures that we're going to be blinking. We're going to be blinking a lot of creatures, so when they come back to the battlefield, we get those enters abilities. This helps us get even more of those. Pearl Medallion for some cost reduction. Skull Clamp, we're getting a lot of tokens off of Aang's ability, so we may as well get some draw power off them while we're at it. Soul Ring for the mana. Swiftfoot Boots for some protection for Aang, along with making sure some of our creatures can attack the turn to come in, because when they get blinked, they re-get that summoning sickness. Drone of Eldraine, like running this in basically any monocolor deck. 4 mana of the chosen color, only to cast monocolored spells. Also do a little bit of draw power while we're at it. And Wayfarer's Bauble for a little bit of extra mana there. Because, like I said, Aang is 5 mana, which you're in mono white. It's not the hardest to get because you have ways to like blink, like your Knight of the White Orchid, or I might not finding one. They have other ways to blink your stuff. That'll get you the mana. We have Abdel Adrian, Gorgon's Wind, Ward, 5 mana, 4/4. Exile any number of other non-land permanents you control until this card leaves the battlefield. Create 1/1 soldier tokens for each permanent that left its way. So we get the experience counters for Aang. We get the tokens for him. That's a lot of tokens we've been creating. Appa, Steadfast Guardian, for a 2 and 2 white. Get a flash flying 3/4. Whenever you cast a spell from exile, get a 1/1 white ally creature token. So anytime we airbend, which we like to do with this deck, and we're only going to get more cards with airbending because we just started. Beza, the Bounding Spring. We have a whole bunch of abilities as long as someone has more of each thing than us. And if we keep blinking this, we keep getting those abilities again and again, as long as we're behind. Charming Prince, another blink spell to get those experience counters there onto Aang in order to, get some more allies. Circuit Mender enters, gain 2 life, leaves, draw a card. Both abilities we like to see, both things we're going to be doing, because we're going to be blinking him, having him leave, draw a card, enter, gain 2 life, leave, draw a card, and repeat that process again and again. Elishnorn, Mother of Machines. We like our enters abilities, so we may as well do it twice. Enduring Innocence, we have a lot of tokens entering the battlefield, so we get to draw some cards off of those. We like to see this card, so make sure we can do just that. Exalted Sunborn, another way things can leave the battlefield without dying is when they leave the battlefield to the warp zone. So, may as well get some extra creature tokens off of Aang's ability when this does get cast for its normal ability, and, let's see it. Feldar Guardian enters the battlefield, exile another target permanent, then returns to the battlefield under its owner's control. Maybe you have a second thing in here that does the exact same thing, and you just keep blinking back and forth, gang. I don't know, like it's just a Google of experience counters. Flicker Wisp, another way to blink our creatures. So when Flicker Wisp enters the battlefield, exile another target permanent, return to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the end step, so you don't get right away with Feldar Guardian, but something else will be getting to does. Aaliyah, Guided by Light, another card with that warp ability, leaving the battlefield other than, getting removed. Getting some life gain, giving how many creatures we have entering as well, and a little bit of draw power there. Knight of White Orchid, another creature we like to blink in order to get more and more ramp, in order to make sure we have a way to win the game. Core Cartographer, get some more ramp, let's see it. Lauren to the Third Path, another creature we like to blink in order to get some removal, and maybe we'll give her haste so that we could draw some cards. Mondrak, Lori Dominus, we're creating a lot of allied creature tokens, so with those, may as well get double those. Moonshaker Cavalry. You like Creator Behemoth, right? Why not have that here for this deck? But when enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain flying, +X, where X is the number of creatures you control. If you have Elishnorn on the battlefield, or Panharmonicon, you get +X, and then +X. If you have Aldri, you get +3X. Let's see it. Philia, Exuberant Shepherd, another way to make sure our stuff can leave the battlefield and come right back. This is once again at the end phase, so doesn't work there with Feldar. Preston the Vanisher, whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control wasn't cast, which not that uncommon, really common in this deck. Create a token of that copy of that creature except it's 0/1 white illusion. You can also sacrifice 5 illusions, exile target non-land permanent, potentially some removal, but also just getting a second copy of most other spells is worth it. Restoration Angel. Here's a card we were looking for. When this creature enters, you may exile target non-angel creature you control. Return to the battlefield under your control. So this plus Feldar, that's infinite experience counters. There's a third one. I forgot what its name is, but we don't have it in here. I couldn't think of the name of the card when I was building the deck. Skycleave Apparition. Another way to get rid of our opponent's stuff temporarily. Or it does that we don't control. But yeah, also getting us potentially some extra... Sorry, its owners some tokens. But, that's worth it. Solemn Simulacrum, another creature we don't mind blinking, because we get more and more mana, which we like to see. Spirit Companion and Wall of Omens, both for that draw power when they get that blink going. For our enchantments, we have Anointed Procession, creating a lot of tokens. Let's create twice that many. Caretaker's Talent, once again, creating a lot of tokens. May as well draw some cards off of it. Kadara's Crusade. Get your dice out. You're doing a lot of math. Just make sure you have your dice handy. Not the bunch of D6s you have. Get your D20s. What do you mean your D20 wasn't enough? No, it was not going to be enough. Far Traveler, another way to blink our creatures. Getting more and more experience counters. Smothering Tide, we're doubling up a lot of tokens. We may as well double up our treasure tokens while we're at it. And Teleportation Circle, another way to blink our creatures. Getting those abilities again. On to our second half of the deck, we have Instance. We have a blink spell, acrobat removal, Cloud Shift for another blink. Same with Eerie Interlude, Ephemerate, Flawless Maneuver for that protection, because we want to make sure that when we get all those tokens, they don't just get board wiped and we lose the game anyway. Flicker of Fate for another blink, Generous Gift for some removal, Getaway Glamour for either blink or removal, Ghostway for another blink, Lae'zel's Acrobatics for some more blink, Parting Gust for more blink or potentially removal, Pad Exile for definite removal, Scroll Shift for a little bit of draw power along with a little bit of blink, Semester's End for some more blink. I think you're noticing a trend here, right? Slip on the Ring for some more blink, Stroke of Midnight, and Swords of Clashes for their removal. And Teferi's Protection. Once again, we're creating a lot of tokens. We want to make sure there's protection for them. This doesn't count as blinking them because it just fades out. They don't get exiled. And then we just have board wipes here for the sorcerers. But that's the deck there. If you guys liked the video, make sure you like the video. If you want to see more like this, make sure you subscribe so you can stay tuned for future videos. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great day.